Every few weeks now, another platform changes something and authors panic. And honestly, I think these changes are telling us something much bigger about the future of author businesses. Over the past few weeks alone, we have seen Draft to Digital introduce activation and maintenance fees, Barnes& Noble put limits around print accounts, and Amazon make changes to audiobook royalty structures. Every time one of these announcements happens, the same cycle kicks off. Facebook groups light up, authors start worrying, people begin predicting the end of publishing as we know it. And I understand why, because when your business is built inside systems you do not control, every platform update feels personal. It feels unstable. It feels like the ground underneath you is shifting. But I want to zoom out today because I do not think that the real story is the individual changes. I think the real story is that the old author business model is starting to crack. And the authors who recognize that early are going to build far stronger businesses over the next few years. For a long time, the dominant advice to authors looked something like this: publish your books, put them on retailers, hope the platforms surface them to readers, build visibility inside those ecosystems. And to be fair, there was a period where that worked really well. Organic reach was stronger, algorithms were less crowded, and retailers were pushing indie books harder because the ecosystems were still growing. Some authors built incredible careers in that environment. But the environment changed, and I think many authors are still trying to operate as though it has not. Today, most authors are responsible for their own visibility. You are running ads, you're posting on social media, you're building newsletters, you're doing collaborations, you're creating content, you're running promotions, you are bringing the readers. And that is already the reality for most authors, whether they fully realize it or not. And once you understand that, the business conversation changes completely. Let's talk about the recent announcements for a moment. Not in a doom and gloom kind of way, but practically. So, Draft to Digital introduced fees because businesses adjust their models when costs change and when new books flooding the market. Barnes & Noble introduced account limits because platforms manage risk, volume, and operational load. Amazon adjusted audiobook royalties because companies optimize profitability. None of this is shocking. These are businesses simply making business decisions. And honestly, this is going to continue happening more and more, not less, because publishing platforms are under pressure too. Competition is increasing, AI is changing consumer behavior, audiobook growth is changing economics, advertising is changing, consumer attention is fragmenting. This environment is becoming more volatile, not more stable. And I think authors need to emotionally accept that, because once you do, you stop reacting to every update like it is a personal attack on your career. You start thinking differently. You start asking, how do I build stability anyway? And that's a much better question. One of the things I notice in author communities is how quickly fear spreads. Someone posts a screenshot, someone else predicts disaster. Within hours, people are talking about pulling books down, changing strategies, abandoning platforms, or panicking about the future. And the problem with that environment is not just stress. It is that fear creates reactive decision-making. Authors stop building, they freeze, or they jump from tactic to tactic trying to regain certainty. I want to say this gently but clearly. If every retailer update throws your business into emotional chaos or throws you into emotional chaos, that is usually a sign your business has too much dependency concentrated in one place. That does not mean you are failing. It means the structure underneath the business needs strengthening. I think the biggest shift authors need to make over the next few years is this: from platform-dependent thinking to reader-owned thinking. And that does not mean abandoning retailers. I really want to stress that. Retailers still matter. Amazon matters. Apple matters. Kobo matters. Barnes & Noble matters. They are still valuable distribution channels. But more and more, I believe authors need to stop treating retailers as the foundation of their business, because the retailers are not actually responsible for building your career. You are. And if you are already doing the work to bring readers in, why would you not want ownership over what happens next? A reader-owned business looks different. You still use retailers, but you also build your own systems around them. You build an email list. You create pathways back to your store. You create direct relationship with readers. You make it easy for readers to continue with your books. You stop relying entirely on algorithms to reconnect you with people who already liked your stories. And this is where things start becoming calmer, because now you are building assets, not just chasing a transaction. Let me make this practical. Imagine two authors. Both release a new fantasy novel. Both run ads, both post on social media, both get readers interested. Author one sends every reader to retailers. A percentage buy book one, some continue, some disappear. The author has very little visibility into what happens next. Author two also uses retailers, but they have started building direct pathways. Inside their books are links back to their store. Their store offers bundles. The readers can buy the next books easily. There is an audiobook option. There is an email sign-up woven naturally into the experience. Now something interesting starts happening. Every reader becomes more valuable over time. One sale becomes two, then three, then repeat purchases. That business starts compounding, not because the author worked harder, because the system became stronger. There's another layer to this that authors often overlook, and that's cash flow. When you sell direct, money reaches you faster. And faster cash flow changes how a business operates. You can reinvest quicker, you can test things faster, you can respond to opportunities while momentum exists. That matters, especially for indie authors who are funding covers, editing, advertising, formatting, and production themselves. Retailers often create long delays between effort and payment. Direct sales shorten that gap. And psychologically, that changes things too. The business starts feeling more responsive and alive. I genuinely believe we are entering a period where adaptability matters more than ever. Not panic, not outrage, adaptability. The authors who do well over the next 5 years are not necessarily going to be the loudest or the trendiest. I think they are going to be the authors who build stable systems, strong reader relationships, and businesses that can absorb change without collapsing emotionally every time a platform updates a policy. And that is the biggest shift I see happening. And honestly, I think it's a healthy one, because it pushes authors towards building real businesses instead of relying on hope. If you are listening to this and realizing you want to build a more stable author business, one where your readers and sales systems and marketing actually work together, then the next step is joining your signature Get My Book Out There marketing system. Inside, we map this out for your books, your genre, and your goals, so you are not constantly reacting to the industry around you. The link is below. The publishing world is changing. It always has, it always will. The goal is not to avoid change. The goal is to build a business that can move with it without losing yourself in the process. And I think that starts with understanding something very important. Retailers are tools. Your relationship with readers is your business. That is the shift. And the authors who understand it early are going to be in a very strong position moving forward.